Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fangs the Fantasy, our second episode of 2015. As ever, we are continuing to follow all of our wonderful speculative fiction shows and books in all of their many, many guises, and we're then going to rip them all apart for not being nearly diverse enough. Join me as
According to the
ever in...
plan.
Exactly. As ever, your hosts are me, Paul, source of all things awesome, and Renee, the destroyer of joy and stealer of thunder. Hello, Renee.
Hello, Paul.
And we had a new show start this week, so we should probably start with that one. I'm also hacking up my lungs, which is unfortunate. 12 Monkeys, which we both expected to be a lot worse than it was.
I don't know. I didn't like the movie, I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's early days yet, because this was the first episode. But so far, okay.
I think I can sum up my reaction to this is I am intrigued, go on. And I'm not like, oh my god, this is awesome, I want to watch every episode ever, I would never miss it again. But yes, I am intrigued. Please continue.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we already know it's sci-fi and time travel.
Mm-hmm.
So you already got a pretty good sense of how this is going to end up, because he's clearly already done this. He's just living it out now.
Yeah.
So this isn't going to end positive for the characters involved. There's that. I was disappointed when Gorney, whatever, the guy they thought was responsible for the virus died.
Yeah.
Because he's a really good actor. And it's just like, boom, he's gone.
No, he's dead now, but then if they go back in the past, he's not going to be dead. So just
Yeah.
time traveling, just because he's dead doesn't mean we're not going to see him some more.
That's 1987 they're going back to. They're going to have to use a younger actor. He can't pull off that he's 20 years younger than he is now. Not successfully, I think.
It's amazing what makeup artists can do.
If you say so. I'm
It's
not
possible.
sold. One of the things that I noticed right off is there isn't a lot of diversity.
No, I'm not. There's no real indication that this is going to be a diverse show. Because remember, it's a dystopian, and in dystopian worlds, minority characters always die first.
That said, I did notice a character very briefly.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote in the review, he helped Cole get off the stretcher. And when I saw him, I figured this has to be a larger role, because he's been in some pretty big things. And I checked, and he's in apparently 10 episodes. So there's hope that we are going to have a character of color who is going to play a major role in the show.
Yeah,
Just
but then he
based
will
on the
die
fact
because
that
he
it's-
always does.
Yes, he always dies. He died in The Walking Dead. He died in Fringe. He dies a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This guy. But, we'll see. Maybe he'll break a trend this time.
Dead man walking.
So, but at least he's a very good actor, and he'll do some good things, hopefully, before he dies.
Yeah, I'm definitely fairly positive about all this. I'm just vaguely I just want to see more to be certain. I also know that Whitley is apparently going to be a regular recurring character, but didn't he exist just to pass on some information?
Yeah, the NSA guy.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if that actually develops into something.
One can only hope. I mean, it's really, really early, so it's hard to say. You go into it not expecting much, because of the dystopians we've watched have all sort of followed the same pattern.
Exactly. The thing is, I'm always leery about commenting on diversity in any definitive fashion until about episode 6. Because by about episode 6, at that point you kind of know, okay, we know which way it's going now.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, by episode 6, it's a case of, come on, you're going to have to pull out a small miracle for me to see you going. It's unlikely to change its diversity. Usually, after episode 6, shows get worse with diversity, not better.
Agreed. It's just that I'm looking at it and I'm seeing potential, but it's what they do with the potential.
Exactly.
But I had to look hard to see it. Like, if I hadn't have recognized that actor, I wouldn't have seen, maybe, possibly. And then the 2 minutes NSA guy was on screen wasn't long enough to tell you anything.
Diversity-wise, it's not looking great, but again, it's early days. Plot-wise, I'm intrigued. I'm not particularly fond of this idea of a non-neurotypical genocidal villain, which is what we've got a hint at the moment. But again, I'll see what happens here.
Oh, you mean with Jennifer?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's still very much a case of, well, what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm. Well, we have to see if it'll follow along the course of the movie and just really stretch things out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something which is going to need to have some fairly constant action.
Yeah, and it doesn't have Brad Pitt this time around, so...
Oh, he's getting a bit old now.
They're going to have to do something.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, we sound terribly, terribly suspicious about all this, and yeah, to be fair, we are. But it wasn't bad. I've left it feeling positive, wary, but positive.
Oh, yeah. I liked it so much better than the Librarians. I'll give it that.
That's because you hate fun.
I enjoy fun. I just hate stupidity.
You hate fun.
I think it actually has a lot more potential than the movie had.
I think it definitely does look very, very positive. So we shall see. We'll be following it as it develops. And
I just want to toss in something else. And also because there is a movie, I feel I can have more trust in the writers. I don't necessarily think they're making it up as they're going along, asking a bunch of questions which they have no, thought about answering.
Yeah.
It follows the path. So it gives me something to have a little bit of faith in, because recently I've lost some in some of the fantasy shows that we watch.
Particularly, I mean, there's something about the speculative fiction. There needs to be a separate genre. I suppose if I'm going to be generous about it, I would call it the mystery genre. But you know what? I'm going to be far more honest about it and call it the pointless enigma genre. Or the endless enigma genre. Lost, Under the Dome, Haven, because of enigma, with no answers, resurrection.
Because they're just making shit up as they go along.
Yeah, and it's hard to say that that's not what they're doing, because that's what it feels like. And they do feel Helix. Even touches on it. And it doesn't even have to be direct questions, just lots of random stuff happening in the background which isn't developed. And I really do not like this genre. I need a meta plot. I need something to hang on. Oh, can I have a brief side rant here?
Go ahead.
I'm going to have a side rant on the whole idea of a meta plot, and I'll return to the previous side rant, and we can get back on topic.
Okay.
I do not understand why network and Fox News in particular in any way cannot understand that meta is what sells speculative fiction shows. You cannot live on Monster of the Week. You can't. You need a series. You need an overarching plot. Monster of the Week gets dull. So why is Fox News looking at Sleepy Hollow, looking at the dropping ratings and saying, well, clearly the problem here is there's not enough Monster of the Week episodes? How would you do... What? How can you even think... How can you look at the show and think that is the problem? How can you look at the fan reaction and think that is the problem? Are they concussed?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is you look at our genre. I mean, we have watched so much in the genre, and any show which has lasted more than 3 or 4 seasons has had an overarching meta plot, and that is what's kept it going. Supernatural meta plot every season. Once Upon a Time meta plot. Vampire Diaries, Lost Girl. I mean, Lost Girl's meta plot was a hot mess, but it had one. Haven, again, hot mess, but it had one. Already tucked at the beginning and end. Meta plot is what makes these shows worth watching, otherwise they fizzle and get boring.
Mm-hmm.
You need something. It's very rare you can make a series work which just relies. I mean, you can generally get away with it in the first season to introduce things, random shit this week, random shit next week, but after that, if you have season 2 of more random shit happening, it's a case of, well, why am I watching this? I've already watched this. And they did it with Firefly. They said, no, too much meta. Meta is bad. Particularly now, because in the old days, I think the idea was you don't want to force people to have to watch every single episode religiously. Well, welcome to the era of streaming and TVR. Nobody needs to watch every episode religiously. This is the era of the movie marathon. They sit down with a box set of DVDs or torrents or streaming and just watch them back to back for hours on end. So this is the era of meta. Give us meta. Meta will sell your show. Episodic monster of the week random shit every week with no relation to what happened before does not work. This hereby concludes my rant.
Are you feeling better?
I'm feeling better, but it just annoys me so much.
Okay. I mean, I think they're holding on to a false success. They're holding on to the lost success, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just read an article where the writers admitted that they were making it all up. How polar bears ended up in Lost, because one week's a writer was like, let's just throw some polar bears in there and see what falls out. What the hell?
Yeah, this is back to the previous
attitude. Right, what the hell? And you know what? The problem with all of this is, yes, I mean, it lost some viewers along the way because people were just sick of this. And what this has caused is other shows have a lot less leeway now.
Mm-hmm.
The minute we see that the writer is starting to make shit up as he's going along, he doesn't seem to have a plan, we're out. No one is going to there and spend hours of their time angsting. I wonder what this means. Does this mean something? Did I see something here? Right? As though there are all these clues being given, when in actuality it's not. It's just bullshit. Time is too short for that, and no one is into doing that long term. So you got to give people, if asking questions is fine, but there's got to be a hint that you're going to answer those questions,
and they need to be answered eventually.
Right. You don't have to provide all the answers all at once, but you have to keep track of the questions you're asking and answer them bit by bit.
And keep them moving. Exactly. Otherwise, you are going... people will lose interest, and people have been burned. As you said, with Lost, people were burned.
And they have not forgotten it.
Exactly. We were burned, and we're looking on going... Okay, you're now starting to do lots of random shit. I think you're making it up. You're just throwing shit at it and seeing what sticks.
Right, unless it's got some kind of text behind it, the way that The Walking Dead does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, or there's a movie already. And even with the text, Walking Dead lost ground with white people sitting on a porch.
Yeah, because it didn't move.
Text behind it, because it didn't move, and people would question: are they just making this shit up? Even though there was a text in existence. So
you sure?
Need to be careful.
I think this relates to bringing both together, both the Pointless Enigma rant and my rant about Monster of the Week plots. We need to know you have a plan. We need to know you are envisaging this is season 3 of whatever, and it fits the plot. There is a plot here. And if you do lots of Monster of the Week plots, or lots of random question plots, or even like an American Horror Story, does lots of random shock event plots, it doesn't look like you have a coherent plan for the season. It looks like you're just throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Exactly. And occasionally little bits of meat here and there.
Yeah, and it's dull. It gets boring. It gets old. No series should leave you thinking you could miss 3 or 4 episodes and not miss anything of particular value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And
If you do
Heroes,
that, you've done
same
something
thing.
wrong.
Come to think of it, Heroes.
Yep.
And notice Heroes didn't get as long as Lost. People are like, yeah, see ya, bye.
Well,
I
that's
see
been
where this is going.
well, exactly. People have lost the patience with it. I think Heroes also crashed early because it was loved to begin with. So when it went, so I said, "Oh, I know, we're going to like kill it dead." Everyone was kind of like, "Well, screw that then."
When it be, I mean, it was clear the first season. Yeah, these people have a plan. Season two, obviously no plan. It was a
Yeah.
case of, oh, we thought we were going to be canceled. We were going to be a hit. What the hell do we do now?
Oh, quick, throw something.
Like, that's exactly what happened, and people went, see you, bye.
Yeah, I think that's what happened on the second season of Under the Dome as well. They were going, derby, derby, derby. We were renewed? Are you serious? Did they
Now
not
what?
watch that shit? What do we do now? Well, clearly they'll watch any crap if they watch the first season.
And there you go. And
Exactly.
it is the problem that Resurrection is currently dealing with.
It doesn't
Um,
seem to have a coherent plan.
I think Resurrection forgot that it's supposed to be a sci-fi mystery at heart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the problem with Resurrection. It thought that family drama alone could sell the show, but that's not why people tuned in. When you tell us that there are people coming back from the dead, you had better be prepared to tell us why.
And you better make coming back from the dead the main element. I mean, it's... I think to put it into context, it's like The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is all about people's interactions and drama, which is fine, and that's perfect, because it is all about the human story. So Resurrection, by all means, make it mainly be about the human story. But you have to move on. Just like Walking Dead had to occasionally have zombies appear, or had to occasionally have some antagonists, and couldn't just be white people on a porch, so too could the Resurrection not entirely be, oh look, the Langstons are out rowing again.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
was interesting and deep and fascinating and emotional for the first season. By the second season, it's a case of, you know what, I just don't care about these people anymore. They all kind of need to get over themselves.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think this is a problem as well, particularly when you have this speculative fiction element. Because even in a soap, just focusing on one family which doesn't add anything much from week to week,
Hmm.
it's it would have been a limited run. But with something which promised so much, I won't say more because that's demeaning to soaps, even though I don't like soaps even slightly. But
We're getting rid of
even
ours.
hmm,
It's you British that still have them on the air. But go on.
well, we have them forevermore. But even with a soap, it would be dull to focus this limited. But to take it further and say, right, yeah, this is all about the dead coming back to life and just kind of skirting around that concept is a
Hmm.
waste. And the problem is, I think, with Resurrection, since we seem to have kind of moved on to Resurrection, is I think they've finally realised that in a very too little too late situation.
Well, not only that, I don't like where this is going. When you
Mm-hmm.
look at the tube, it said Preacher died when he was 33 years old. And I
Uh-huh.
was just, don't do it. Please don't do it. Don't turn to religion for this. And you just know they're going to go there.
It seemed very dubious, and I'm not particularly fond of it at all.
You
And
know, I mean,
And I think it's a little simplistic as well, because it's not exactly world building or developing a world. It's because God.
it's where that Man Pain show from the summer.
Leftovers.
Sorry, it's where the leftovers is heads and above resurrection, because the one thing they said for sure is, hey, it is not the
Rapture.
it is not the rapture, and you know this because Gary Busey was taken. So
Exactly.
I have a lot to say, actually. Um, and that builds mystery, but just Jesus connections and religion, and I don't want religion with my fantasy.
I don't mind them using it as a setting. For example, the Angels on Dominion. But
Yeah, I don't like it. I never have, though. And not because I'm a religious person, but because it's religion is something that is so overwhelming in our culture. Even if you're an atheist, you can't escape it. It's always freaking there in the background. I don't need it again in my fantasy where I'm going to go escape. And
mhm.
I also think that in th- when they're doing it and they have Preacher dying at 33, so obviously he's like mock Jesus, which
Yeah.
is really unpleasant because it gets into the whole Jesus was not a white man, get over yourself, people. It doesn't take into account the damage that it does or has and continues to do in our world.
Mhm.
I don't like them playing with it this way.
That is again why I kind of prefer to if you're going to bring in religious elements, I prefer to see it in a show like, as I say, like Dominion or like Supernatural, where it's treated as a mythology,
Mm.
where demon, for example, angels can be dicks and monsters, and it's very clear, particularly when you're throwing in lots of other settings, pantheons as well, because
Well,
it then becomes, you know,
it's
this,
okay then. It's
yeah, it's a
okay then.
fictionalized thing.
But this is clearly not.
Where
They're
it's,
very clearly showing you that it is not. So they had better go down on a different road because at this point they will completely lose me altogether.
I think they've also already kind of lost me. I just don't think it's going to go that far anymore. It's too late for them to try and to turn around and say, um, I think it's just really, really, really too late for them to turn around at this stage and say, "Oh, look, this is going to be," because they've only got like what 3 episodes left.
One more, I
One
think.
more
After
episode left.
Yeah, after last night's one more.
They haven't
And
got enough
here's
time to develop this plot line to anything worth watching.
and here's the other thing. Preacher James is Hoyt from
Oh yeah,
True Blood. And all I can every time he opens his mouth, all I see is him in the Fang Banger stage with a black eyeliner. I don't take him seriously in this role at all. It doesn't work for me. I don't know why, but he doesn't work for me. He's he's not nearly as compelling. He's not compelling enough to pull this off. I
I
don't
also
buy
kind of
it.
think if you're actually going to bring in a real life Jesus, this ultra white bread American is so off putting.
That's what I
It's the sort of
said.
thing you
It
can
brings up
see
the
in a
issue with
Republic.
white Jesus.
He's just so fanboy. I can see him at the Republican National Convention,
Mm-hmm.
or knocking on my door on a
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning with a Bible in hand and trying to pretend that I'm not trying to kill him with my eyes.
Yeah, it's not working. It's not working. But we should move on because we have lots to cover, right?
The next thing we should really cover is Helix: The Return, because oh my god,
What was that? What
what
was
was
that?
that?
I
What the
sat
hell,
there through the
writers?
whole thing going, huh? Huh? Huh?
Did you
What?
forget what happened in season 1, writers? Did you just decide, nah, we're not going to do this?
I sat there going, was it me? Did I miss something?
Like
Because what the hell?
the whole point of the season 1 was to say, right, we finally finished this battle, this in the Arctic subsystems, and now the Narvik is out there, the disease is out there, and the silver-eyed people doing sinister things. So, and that was going to be a whole new direction the show was going to take. Not, oh, by the way, Narvik's no longer our issue. Let's go to this island.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that? Where was that from? And let's replace Ilaria sinister corporation with a sinister cult. Let's take isolated because we're in the middle of the Arctic to isolated because we're on an island.
Watch next. It'll either be in space or the depths of the ocean.
Yeah, it feels like a cheap reboot. Why do this? Why you already had everything established? Like we learned that Alan Farragut apparently blew up a building. What happened to Watson Sarah's baby? And the
Who
silver
knows?
eye thing's there, but everyone's just kind of going, yeah, you've got silver eyes, whatever.
Who the hell knows?
Yeah. And there's Julia running around 30 years in the future. And by the way, someone sack whoever got that art degree and decided to artsy up the whole thing to make it that confusing.
We're dying.
So she's dying, and I'm looking for Alan. 30 years in the future, Alan will be like 93.
Shouldn't he be?
And he's not silver-eyed.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Uh,
I don't get it, and I just, it's one of the things I said towards the end. For this show to progress, they're going to have to get out of the Arctic, and I don't see how they're going to make it work out of a secluded location. And it's pretty much clear the authors have decided this as well. They cannot make this work without a secluded location. So reboot, everybody.
I thought it could have worked. I think it would have turned into something really fascinating to turn it into a pending dystopian, which I don't think I've seen anywhere outside of The Strain. We see a lot of dystopians that start 10 years after the collapse, 15 years after the collapse, or after society has fallen apart. But how many of them do we see during that collapse? I thought that could have been really fascinating to follow.
Yeah, apparently they're not doing it.
No, instead, I just don't get it.
But it's nice to know we weren't the only ones that looked at it and went, huh?
Was it not well received? What, universally?
There was a lot of huh going on. What
Yeah.
is this? This is not what you promised. There was a lot of that going on if you read the message boards on Helix.
And it's also a case of, what was it? So another thing which annoys me is a lot of... Narvik was this great, big, terrifying threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would they really say, oh, look, we've checked out Narvik output. Oh, there's another disease here on an island in the middle of nowhere. Let us stop and investigate it. Or would they turn around and go, you know what, screw this one. It's on an island in the middle of nowhere. Embargo the island. Let's go look for the actual, Narvik, which is going to destroy the world.
You would think, but then they would be on an island.
It also seemed to have the extra, unnecessary enigma thing going on. Like, this guy has kidnapped Julia. Fair enough. Show me the way to San Jose.
San Jose, yep.
Why?
I think it's some sort of code so that they can identify each other. That's what it must be.
It's just so weird.
But here's the thing. That's an actual song, right?
Yeah.
Not really random. So if someone knows the song, someone knows the next line in the song. Right?
You think she'd have tried it at least.
So
maybe
how is the code? But I'm just saying, it's a stupid way to do a code, because do you know the way to San Jose? Somebody knows from the song the next line.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? He called the code word, right? How? Well, he kind of knew the song, and he just sang the next line. So.
Exactly. I sat there going, "This is stupid."
Well, I mean, we don't even know if it is a code word. It could just be the way he says hello around his parts.
I don't know.
No, I don't believe it for a second.
The problem, I don't know that I'm going to care. I don't know that I'm going to care. Why should I get wrapped up in whatever happens this season? Because they're probably going to reboot it if there's a third season. Why should I care about this one?
Yeah, I'm willing to see how this goes, but frankly, at this point, because it's such a gross reboot, I need some evidence from them that they are actually going to bring the old season into it. There is a method to this.
They have to tie them in somehow.
Exactly.
I don't see it happening, but they have to tie them in somehow.
I
And
need some
whoever did the
time.
makeup for the dead disease people, please. That looked cheap and awful. It looked like somebody put some Play-Doh around their mouth and that was the end of that.
It looked like someone has watched that. What is it? Is it Last of Us computer game with the fungus zombies? Realised how awesomely popular it was, and decided, hey, we're just going to rip that off.
It looked bad. Like, this is supposed to be the scary disease I'm scared of. It looks like you stuck Play-Doh on their face.
Mm-hmm. You know, and they've gone for the fungus zombies. They're trying to do the Last of Us fungus zombies.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. I thought last year's monsters were, with the black and the dripping and that was okay. This,
Yeah.
not so much.
Yeah, but they're going for fungus zombies. I'll wager. I bet it turns out to be fungus zombies.
Ugh. Thanks, but no. Mm-mm.
It will be.
Well,
It's. I just look at. I would say, well, I'll watch it and see how it goes, but to be honest, it's annoyed me. So it better go somewhere quite impressive from here. It's got a lot of ground to make up.
I don't think it's going to do it. I don't think
I
it's going to do it.
think so, but that's where it is at the moment.
If they were going to give us a tie-in, they would have done it this first episode. I don't think there's going to be one.
We'll see. I'm willing to wait longer, but at the same time, I am also they need to do it. They're going to have to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because so far I'm not impressed, Helix.
Paul is wagging his very English finger.
Yes, I am giving you. I'd consider this a firm scolding. This will not suffice. Do better. Also, I don't think because I know Alan's coming back because he's still in the credits. I don't think the show really needed another straight white guy to play along with.
No.
To be yet another love interest to Sarah, isn't that like everyone now?
Pretty much. I mean, especially because the characters of color are gone.
Hideki should also be coming back because he's in the credits. I saw him in one of the previews, but yeah, we're missing. I wonder if he'll be a sinister scientist again.
Oh dear, no. I had enough of that last season. Really.
Frankly, but the last season, that's his entire career.
Well, yeah, he plays the same character over and over and over again, but it's probably due to the roles that he's offered as an Asian man and very little to do with him as an actor.
Which is a real shame.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, I would say let's wait and see, but let's face it, let us wait and judge. Let us wait and prepare to judge. Our judgings are ready.
Okay.
But I'm not impressed. This is my not impressed face. So 12. Do we have anything else to add on Helix?
Nope.
Grimm is back.
Woo knows.
I'm clinging to that because there's so much shit going on at the moment. Everyone can just say, but Wu knows. That means Wu can now be a regular important character. But I do have to say, I did quite like Wu saying, when Wu went to the boss, said, oh, so you know all about this. How is that? So you don't want to know. No, I don't want to know. I'm not going to push that.
Rue's facial expressions throughout the entire episode had me cracking up. He's like, "Say what now? Huh?"
Well, is it there's so much they say which you think is so you take for granted now in Grimm, but you realise how much what it sounds from the outside.
Oh, it sounds right out there. And I
Exactly.
loved when they were taking him to the trailer. He was so sure they were going to off him.
Well, it
Yeah.
did look very sinister, didn't it?
Yeah, why don't you just tell me while we're standing right here? We don't need to go any further.
Exactly. You don't need to take me to this sinister place in the middle of nowhere. No.
I really, and them being totally oblivious to, they're just like, look, if you want your answers, they didn't even try to reassure him that they're not going to whack him.
I thought sure that was. I actually wondered what you're going to do without your pet Vesson to work for you to prove it.
Mm. Yeah, because they did that with Rosalie, and they did it with not Rosalie, um,
Juliet.
Juliet, and they did it with Hank.
Uh huh. So I thought, well, what are you going to do now?
Well, they could. I guess they couldn't take that stage because, of course, their pet Vesson has been kidnapped.
Exactly. And now they're finally focusing on them. Though, to be honest, it's all just been a case of, you know what, this has been going on for several, months now? They've been being persecuted by the Western Rhine, and you've only just now made it a priority. It's a bit late.
Well, that's the thing. I really felt like this was Nick and Hank's fault. They knew that they were in danger. I mean, they hung a dead fox outside the door, and
Yep.
they knew there were a group of Vesson Rhine in town. But no, don't come and spend the night at our house. No, we won't sit outside and do surveillance. We'll just let this random rookie cop who we don't really know anything about sit out front your house.
I mean, what was he supposed to do against, say, I don't know, a Scallengek or something? Any number of the Grimms with their special abilities.
Well, that's just it. Could this rookie cop have done if a bunch of Vesson had shown up, if you hadn't been in on it?
Yeah, exactly. I also kind of cross shenanigans. I have to say shenanigans, though, to be honest. I call shenanigans at there being a cop. Certainly a cop who on the Seattle force who is a Vesson, who Nick hasn't seen. Certainly if he's been there for some time, all it takes is an emotional moment and a Wurga, and oh, look.
Well, it looks like he's a rookie. He was really young. So my guess is he's due to the force. I'm betting he
Uh,
was a rookie cop.
my parents always say when the cops look like children, it's a sign you're getting old.
Really?
Yes.
You don't think he looked young?
He looked youngish.
He looked young.
I can understand why he'd look very, very young from certain advanced years.
Oh, you can bite me.
Yeah. But
Yes.
but yeah, who knows? Which is a really good thing. The Western vibe is a hot racist best of wrong, which is a really bad thing.
Can we stop doing the KKK analogies already, Grimm?
They love to appropriate so badly that they need to stop.
See, it'd be one thing if they ever dealt with race other than mining cultures of color from Monsters of the Week, but they never, ever, ever deal with race.
No?
And then they pick something, as disgustingly iconic as the KKK and have them persecuting, Vesson or these imaginary beings down to the red robes, okay? The red freaking robes of
Yeah.
the Grand Dragon. I looked at it and was like, are you freaking kidding me?
They're not only appropriating, but they're laying it over trial in case you haven't missed it.
And the other thing is, I wonder, have they thought about how traumatizing something like that might be? The KKK is not exactly a thing of the past.
Nope.
They're still out there harming people.
So they just wanted to bring it in and they didn't care what it meant or what the implication could be or what it would be like to watch it. All that mattered is that they got the shiny.
Hmm.
And
It's
that's it.
ridiculous.
It's all about that. And we were no surprised they've appropriated the Holocaust. They've appropriated Hitler. I mean, they have absolutely no scruples.
None whatsoever. None. I mean, I don't. I mean, and the whole interracial. They're doing the whole interracial marriage thing, which is
Yeah,
exactly what happened. When blacks and whites married, they became targets to the KKK. You don't
exactly.
play with that. People died over this.
And they're just doing it for a side plot line of Grimm. It's just totally unnecessary.
I think it's a bit disrespectful. That and the burning wolf symbol on the front lawn. Add that to that, and it's just way over the line.
It's just so extreme and it's so blatant. And you look at it, you cannot not see how offensive this is.
I think they just don't care.
Exactly. I think that's what it comes down to.
As much as I like the fact that they're finally focusing on Rosalie and Monroe, I kind of want this all to end. I've had enough now.
They could have easily have done it for many other reasons. They could have had. I mean, if you wanted someone to target Rosalie and Monroe, target them because Rosalie works for the Vesson Council. Target them because Monroe's a vegetarian Vesson who is not a vegetarian Blue Barden who is going against his culture and history.
Target them because they're
Target
a
them because
friend
of
with
friend
a
of a
Grimm.
Grimm. Yeah,
It's the most
exactly.
obvious thing out there.
You had plenty of reasons to, which wouldn't have been drawing on such comparisons, and you would still have been able to have this whole persecution storyline without the symbolism and without the appropriation.
Hmm. Agreed. I don't think they're going to drag it on too much further because they've already dropped the bomb about Juliet.
Yep. I
And
don't think they want to focus too much on them anyway. They want to get Nick back front and central.
yes, and of course Juliet will have to see what happens because you were raped.
Oh God, don't
you
even.
you know that's what it's going to be.
Oh,
If you didn't
unfortunately, no.
sleep with another woman, actually, she won't use the word rape. If you didn't sleep with another woman, I wouldn't be a hexed beast.
Exactly.
That's what's coming.
Uh, I also, and that's another plotline I'm not looking forward to. I mean, in some ways I'm torn. I mean, it'd be nice to see Juliet do something,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it's a case of this doesn't seem like Juliet's going to do something unless she embraces her hex beastness, which she's not going to do. It's going to be a case of, oh, scream, despair, oh, I hate that you're a Grimm, oh, feel guilty, guilty.
And then make sure you save me and cure me. Get to
Exactly,
it's going to be get to work, Rosalie. Go find a cure. Screw your honeymoon.
exactly. And this is the problem I have with this storyline is it's focusing on Juliet, but Juliet is always kind of like the victim,
Hmm. Yeah, you
which
can
never quite works for me.
totally see the writing on the wall.
So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
I just have to see where it goes, though.
Yeah, I mean you never know. Maybe they will make her into a friendly hex beast.
I doubt it. I'm not looking forward to that storyline at all. I just don't see that it will go anywhere positive. Juliet will be the victim, and there'll be some more victim blaming for Nick, and all of that other crap. The
Yeah,
only thing to look forward to in the future, as I see it, is hopefully the return of Kelly
yeah,
and watching how Wu deals with the knowledge he has.
yeah. That's going to be a glowing thing. Wu is our main character now.
Those are the two things to look forward to on Grimm, as far as I'm concerned.
I will be clinging to that.
Hmm.
But yeah, still, I think it's going to get better, mainly because it's hit something of a pit.
Yeah.
I will just cling to Woo. Woo, save the show.
Well, since they're not going to kill Juliet off, it's obvious now. No matter how long I've been wishing it.
Ugh. Do you know who Juliet reminds me of?
Katrina.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
What is it with this genre and helpless redheads?
I don't know. It's gotta go, though.
Yes.
Although, in fairness to Juliet, she is more competent than Katrina.
Yeah, but so's Bud.
I know that's saying
Ice
much,
Biber.
but I just thought I'd throw that out there. She's a little bit more competent than Katrina.
I don't have anything more to add on Grimm.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm done.
We've got the book of the week to get through. I think we can have a quick jab at American Horror Story, but since it's the season finale next week, we can probably cover the whole awfulness of it then.
Yeah, I don't have much to say at this point. American Horror Story is horrible.
Yeah.
I think we should wait and do a wrap up because
there's so much wrong with it.
Rather than giving it the short treatment.
Yeah, there's so much wrong with it. So let us go on to the book of the week.
Mm-hmm.
The Fourth Bear, Jack Sprat Investigates 2 by Jasper Fforde.
Jack Sprat can have no fat. His wife can eat no lean.
This is the second book in the Nursery Crime series, which is set in Berkshire, the UK, where you have standard crime dramas and mysteries, but with lots of fairy tale characters taking part. So you have lots of little clues, like the dish and the spoon have run off to Gretna Green to elope.
Mm-hmm.
And of course our main characters are Jack Sprat and Mary, quite contrary.
Yes. What I love about these books is that they make me laugh out loud.
Yep.
And as much as I love our genre, I found very few authors who've actually made me laugh out loud the way he has.
He really is hilarious.
The existential crisis of being an imaginary being.
Yep.
Bears hopped up on porridge and honey.
Yeah, the idea that porridge is a controlled substance.
I find that hilarious. They come up with all these street drug names for
marmalade and honey and
the stick.
What I love about it is it's clever, it's witty, it's imaginative. Like, who would have thought the gingerbread man as a serial killer or a serial killing machine?
Run as fast as you can.
Yeah, exactly, but you don't think of it that way, do you?
No. Oh. And that scene where he gets into excuse me, a fight with Jack, and it's clear that Jack cannot keep up. And you're thinking about it. Well, yes, if this cookie, you look at the average size of a gingerbread cookie, and now picture this cookie 6 foot tall and several hundred pounds. All of a sudden, it doesn't look so friendly, does it?
It looks tasty.
I don't know about that. I think it might look a little creepy.
It certainly looked creepy.
And because of creepy, maybe a little menacing. So yeah, I think it takes some great great imagination to create this story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the writing is vivid enough that you can really picture everybody.
I think it has a different focus from the last book. In the last book, it was quite wide. It was sheer number of fairy tale creatures and what have you in it, as well as lots more little vignettes from the crime dramas. This one seemed to go deeper, like said, right, here's our concept, so now it's going to analyse the consequence of that. So you have things like Mr. and Mrs. Punch forever locked in constant violence against each other, because that is how they are written. They can never not live that way. even though, as I say, that's reviewed as a terrible misogynist anachronism, the story's still being told, so they can't stop being who they are. And like Goldilocks, the minute Goldilocks enters a bear's house, that's it. She will find free chairs, she will find free beds, and she will find free bowls of porridge.
And it's even before, excuse me, the bear's cottage, in her home, everything was neat and set in threes.
Yeah.
They said, she was quite particular too. She had to have things just right.
She was
Not
fussy.
too hot, not too cold, right?
Yeah.
And then the question is, was her name Goldilocks, or was she the Goldilocks?
Yeah. And it's at the same time, you can also see from that one, you've got these you've got this like Jack Sprat's own nervousness about, is he real or not, and what's the implications of being a person of dubious reality.
Yes. Oh, and the therapist. Remember the therapist?
Oh yeah, she's the most extreme example of it. I mean, this was a woman who was effectively a plot device. And she was a living, breathing plot device. That was what she was. That's what she existed for. And she collapses and breaks down when she realizes that her whole life is nothing. It's non-existent.
She's just, he says, what's your niece's name? And she couldn't. It's like saying, I spend my time with her, and then, what's her name? I don't know it.
Exactly. And it's this thing, this idea that, sorry, but you're not real. You're not a real person. You're a plot device. And then when you look at that, and you look at Jack trying to hide it, you can look at Jack saying, well, I'm not Jack Sprat. I just happen to be a guy called Jack Sprat who doesn't like fat. And it is in blatant denial. But it added a lot of depth to this. I think it made it not quite as funny as the first book, but that's just because there's a very high standard set there. But it adds a level of depth there which I didn't quite expect.
Oh no, I still really enjoyed it. Like the wedding plans, for instance, and Bacchus having to be brought under control because he's arranging the reception. And Zeus not being happy that he didn't get an invitation. All of these little things. There was still a lot of little elements making up the story. Or Dorian Gray,
the car salesman.
I know.
It's lovely little touches like that. Another matter of depth is it developed the aliens a bit more, and again, I quite like that because there's definitely some depth going on there, which I quite like.
Yeah.
It reminds me that this series doesn't just rely on silliness and funniness to sell it.
Reading it did, however, make me sad because this is it. There is no third book in the series.
In theory, he's going to write one, though. It's still open. There's still the idea that there is apparently supposed to be one coming that is about 2017.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, stop getting busy with other things and finish this one off.
So I do want to see more of it.
Oh, and can I say the whole book's about nothing getting awards?
Yeah, that's it. You got these wonderful little commentary, these little snack commentaries, like the pretentious book publishers who win all these awards if they're not popular. So, how many have you sold? Hardly any. It's unpopular. Of course, it's unpopular. People are just not educated enough to read my wonderful work.
Or the guy who steals his own book repeatedly so he can win the award of the most stolen book.
Yep. It's like, this is, and it's such a parody of them. It's like these people are deliberately not making money off their books because they're writing books that are deliberately opaque. And this reminds me so much time we've seen this in the in the genre. We've seen, for example, urban fantasy books looked down on as not being real books because they're popular. Yeah, they're accessible. People like them. I don't know at what point it is that people decided that a book being enjoyable made it flawed.
You would think that the purpose of reading isn't actually to read.
Exactly. But no, one must be painfully enlightened, damn it.
Yeah, I enjoyed this series, and I want to read more of this author's work. I
I
really
do.
do. I like his style.
It's imaginative, it's clever, it's fun, it's awesome. Yeah.
Um,
The
it's a
only
nice twist on. I've seen the fairy tales, but I've never really seen the nursery rhyme twist before this.
exactly.
So I enjoyed it that much more.
The only thing, well, I think we are going to. No, it's one of those books where I actually do not want to criticize it, and I would quite like to say it's just perfect and flawless and that's the level of good this book is. But
You're not going to butt it. Don't do the butt.
we have to butt
We
it.
don't have to talk about the ableism and the erasure.
But unfortunately, first of all, marginalised people there are none in this book. Is the first point. Secondly, unfortunately, we also have to discuss the fact that throughout this book there's this constant demeaning of the mental illness, therapy, asylum as psychologists are barriers you just need to get through. They say, oh, it helps to be, and like, what, crazy to work for the job they're in.
Oh,
They're
that's it.
all
Yeah. If he's declared sane, he couldn't do his job.
exactly. It's a constant ongoing jerk, and some elements of it are funny. Like, I found it hilarious just how blatantly evil and wrong the what do you call it, the the doctors at the mental hospital were.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it wasn't a good part of it. And in addition to the erasure, we had a lot of appropriation, with prejudice against bears being constantly referred to as Urcism.
Yes, which was not good.
And we also had, for some bizarre reason, even now I don't make sense, a straight MP who pretended to be gay to further his career, and now he's terrified of being outed as straight.
Oh, and don't forget he's married to a gay man for a beard, and they've adopted a child together. And he's afraid of losing his pink support.
I
Those
think
were the words that were used.
it just I can't even begin to address this. It's like, well, what is this? Who is this? Why is this? What is this here? What is going on here?
Yeah, I don't understand why go that way.
No, I can't either. So I'm just kind of curious as to, you know, why is that there? And it's kind of sad because it was um, it was so good, and this bit was just so unnecessary.
And the only thing I can think about it is that maybe they're trying to say that everything is backward, but
Uh,
then it turns into, but then you're like sort of it's like a mild discrimaflip sort of situation then, which doesn't make it
yeah,
any better.
yeah, it doesn't work, and it's a shame because it's like this whole thing is so glowingly perfect, and then you've got this. It's like, well, what's this? Why this?
Yeah, there's no way to twist this into anything good.
Yep. And I want to, because I mean that shows you how much we love this book. We do want to, but no. In all honesty, because we can't say something's wonderful when it isn't. In all honesty, this is a problem.
Yes. It breaks my heart to say it, but that's the case.
Yeah. But other than that, it's awesome, and you should all go buy it, read it again, then read it again, and then just declare it your god and formed an whole religion about it, and then have someone make a terrible sci-fi movie about it.
Actually, you know what? I think it'd be an interesting movie.
I think it would be, but I think you'd have to take someone with a lot of imagination to do it.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But it is an awesome book, and we were definitely going to read more Jasper Fforde. But we'll reach the end of our time then. So, do you have any more to Pennyworth to add?
Um, yes, I do want to add one thing, not about Jasper Fforde. We are running the Fang Awards right now in a build up to the Academy Awards. We've decided to run our own awards for urban fantasy, dystopian, steampunk books and television. It's on the blog right now. You can um, write in your nominations. It's last week's Friday discussion. You can either write your nominations in the comment section. You can email us. You can put it on Facebook. You can. Where else?
Tweet us.
Yes, there's a whole list of ways. But please be sure to get your nominations in so we can have a good round.
Definitely. So, we hope to see your nominations, what's good, and of course, what's bad. So, come on, join us in. We want to see who gets our Golden Fangs and Dread fan poodles.
Mm.
Of course, over the week we will be following all of our usual shows, so keep watching the blog fangsfantasy.com for those. And our next book is Unbound by Jim C. Hines. That's the third book in his Librarians series. Or is it the fourth book in his Librarians series? Third book, which we've been looking forward to.
It's okay, the British can't count.
Hmm.
But they're good at colonizing Scots. Anyway, go ahead.
Whatever. I shall ignore your desperate colonial blandishments.
Oh, whatever.
And
Those poor Jacobites.
And we shall see you all next week at the same time in the same place. Without the kilts.
Have a good week, everyone.
Goodbye. See you next week.
Prince Charlie.
Get in your nominations. Goodbye.
Good night.